I have a couple of questions. It was very nice to hear that the committee is very supportive and of promoting and helping people get promoted. My question is, if somebody is not ready to be promoted and you've reviewed the entire promotion packet, what are your recommendations to the faculty member? Okay, build X, Y, and Z up and come back and resubmit your packet? Or do you also review a packet and say, well, this person doesn't have as much scholarly activities as we would like to, but you know what, they're a lot more stronger clinically. Do you then come back and offer, I think you're appropriate for the clinical track, not the CE track. Do you ever go back and make that kind of I don't want to say offer, but that kind of recommendation for promotion?
Just talking about the process again. First of all, the committee does not interact with the candidate at all. Okay, so the interaction is typically with the administrator who handles it for a specific department. On the other hand, if there's a specific recommendation like, you know, we kind of like it, but it's not ready, that probably is going to go back to the chair. So you want to reconnect with the chair and say, so what did they say? Like, you know, we don't see enough publications, or the last publication was 2014, here it is 2017. Is this person still involved in this kind of work, or are they doing something else? So there will be some specifics going back, but it is going to be going to the chair. So that's where you need to reconnect with that person to find out what was said. Mm-hmm. One of the, you know, we don't usually vote people down. We decide to make recommendations on what we think would enhance that that promotion package. So it's usually not a net. We almost never, you know, I guess it's a little like our kids in Little League. You know, everybody gets you know, everybody's a winner. So we tend to look on the positive side, but the information goes back to the chair.
Okay. The chairs, of course, would like if many, if not all, of the people in their departments are periodically coming along and can be promoted. So the thing is usually a packet won't go over for review until it looks like in the either with the chair or the committee in your department that they feel that this looks like it's about where it should be to be considered for promotion.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to add have been occasions where the chair has submitted a package, it's been reviewed and found lacking in something, and the chair has, you know, heard that back and said, I disagree. This is an incredible candidate, and they definitely deserve this promotion, and they often come back to the committee and support their request for promotion, and I'd say more times than not are successful at doing that. They can explain a little bit more than maybe on the written page. So that isn't very common, but it can be done. There is a process for reviewing decisions.
Some of the chairs aren't that familiar with the practice track, and so that's one area where the chair's letter oftentimes doesn't sufficiently justify the impact that the practitioners had. And so some of the chairs are just starting to catch up with this track. But I would say that for the applicant and the chair, a properly constructed CV is absolutely key to facilitate this process going forward, taking full advantage of the narrative for the clinical impact, research impact, mission, and you know, filling in all the areas like national committee work. I can't tell you how many people do their CV and don't list the national committees they're on and what they do. And yet we pay a lot of attention to it. Or they don't capture the lectures they gave as a visiting professor somewhere.
Yeah, I guess we'll get to that question there, but one take-home pearl is when you do something, regardless of the size or extent, put it on your CV. You can always decide later on, maybe you don't need it there, or it's the wrong place, but get it down. You'd be surprised how a month later you don't really remember you gave that lecture, that you were the grand rounds moderator or whatever. So put it down when it happens, right away, that day.
There is one piece in the packet for the clinical practice track that's not in the rest of the applications, and that's a matrix page. That's the page in which it's you're able to show your practice, numbers of patients, the significance you have of where your patients come from, et cetera, et cetera. That spells out specifically your practice activities. And that only is in the package for the practice track, not any others.